Welcome into another edition of NetSpot with Sarah Kustok, presented by Ticketmaster. I am Sarah Kustok, and I am joined by, and I say this with no exaggeration, one of my very favorite humans. Oh. And one of my I've said this before, Tim Capstraw. Sorry, I botched the lead of actually saying your name. The radio analyst for the Brooklyn Nets, who we will get into, but you also do work with us for Nets.
I'm your backup. I'm your backup.
I would never
Sarah
say that.
Kustok's backup. I'm so proud of this.
You know,
it's on my LinkedIn profile now. It is.
Capper, you are the best. I said this because we were talking a lot because you just finished your 2000th consecutive.
All right, we've done that.
Career game. No, not yet. We're going to dig into that of calling Nets games. But truly, since the first time I came to the Nets, I came to the Nets when they came to Brooklyn, you have been one of the most supportive educators, mentors, teachers, friends. You've welcomed me into your family. To me, I would never be in the position I am or who I am or what I am without you. So from my heart, I appreciate you. I think about the times we sit through practices, shoot arounds, we talk Nets, we talk life, we talk everything. You welcome me in your home. You really are a gem of a human being, and I am just so grateful to be around you. And I feel like you beat me.
Well, I agree with all that. That was just how I wrote it. Very good, Sarah.
Let's get into you just being a broadcaster, because you were. First, I want to know what you were like, because I've seen some footage. But you, as a head coach, out of college, you were a head coach at Wagner. Yes. Then you go to Siena.
I was an assistant coach at Wagner right out of college, but I was a head baseball coach because the baseball coach had left and I had played baseball also. And they said, would you coach the baseball team? So that was like weird. I was 22 years old. And I was a head baseball coach. And then I was an assistant basketball coach at Wagner at the same time. So I did two things at once. And it was wild. Then I went up to Siena College and for 4 years, and we were really good. And I was really good. And we ended up beating Stanford in the NCAA tournament. We had good players. All these, it was terrific. And I was 29 years old. And because I had known everyone, the job opened.
Yeah.
And I probably wasn't particularly that ready for it, but I took it, and it went well for a while. And I turned it around a little bit, but then stayed a little too long. But then I was, I was the youngest coach in the country. Then after 10 years, I had a good run. They kind of asked me to leave. I didn't disagree with them. Seriously, the day I got fired, I fired myself because the athletic director before the year, who was a guy named Walt Hamline, who wanted me to win as much as I did. Really, this doesn't happen that much. Said, Capper, do me a favor. Win 13 this year, will you? So I think I was at like 10 at the end of the year. So I knew it was like, he goes, if you don't win 13, because he had already given me one more year. And I walked in and said, you got to fire me, don't you? He goes, yeah, we got to. All right. And we started making a list of who we should hire. Is that wild?
This does not surprise me, though, about you. I feel like this is part of you and your personality.
Oh, I don't know about
and why
that.
We love you. We love you on the broadcast. How did that lead into broadcasting? What was then the next step that you thought?
Oh, I will say this.
This is going to be a career move for me.
No, each week they would have these weekly luncheons in New York City where like Lou Carnesecca would be there, and then Bill Raftery early on, and PJ Carlissimo, and different people, even Jim Valvano when he was there. But I was kind of after those guys a little bit. And you'd go up and talk about your team. And then one time I kind of wanted to be funny, and I was. And then the pressure every week to do that, to go up and speak in front of all these coaches and people.
And then, be funny.
And be funny. Now, that was pressure. And I had some good material, but sometimes I bombed. But for the most part, I was pretty good. But then people would tell me, although I wasn't at a big, when you're at Wagner, you're not a big name coach. You're not going to get the job right out of that. People didn't really know who you were, but people had always said, this is what you do well. If you get an opportunity, you should try to go into broadcasting. But it wasn't handed to me. It took me a good 2-3 years to really get an opportunity.
What do you feel like your biggest challenge was in broadcasting early on in figuring out how to be good at it?
How to be yourself. It's hard to be yourself. Miles Davis is this famous jazz. I always steal people's quotes. He always said, it takes a long time to play like yourself. And it takes a long time. If I could get to the point where I'm myself, I would be fine. But the comfort level to get there was hard for me for a period of time. I was trying to be a broadcaster instead of just being me. Yeah. And that kind of, but you have to do it. And I say that to a lot of guys, NBA players or different people that have done the job or doing the job. Don't go out in the biggest stage right away. Don't be afraid to do lower level games and give yourself an opportunity. Make some mistakes. Yeah. So like these big name guys that get the job right away and they're good, but not all of them are good. And they blow it because they haven't been able to make the mistakes. It's a 20 game thing with me. I think it's 20 games that people need to really start learning how to do it. We had a gentleman here, a great player named Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson came in, right? Well, you don't mind me just going, right?
Yeah,
you don't care, right?
Come on, tell us more.
Tell us more. I don't do this often, so I'm going to milk it a little bit. The Mark Jackson came in. I was the radio guy, right? And he came in a TV job. He NBA player, good player, all-star at times, coach, all that stuff, right? He started out in November. He was just okay, and he was never himself yet. He was never himself on the air. But he was fortunate he had Frank DeGrace with him, who was not afraid to coach people. And then I kind of got to know him a little bit, and he was really fun on the bus. Really fun. And he had this thing he'd always say, "You're better than that, man. You're better than that, Capper. You're better than that." I said, "Mark, that's got to be your thing. You're better than that." Meanwhile, then this guy goes from "you're better than that" to being, 10 years later, he's Mr. Catchphrase on commercials. I'm like, come on, I should get a residual. But anyways, he was good in November, better in December, pretty good in January, and on ABC in January, in March, April. That's how quick it can happen. But you have to kind of work it out, man. It's almost like going on stage and being a storyteller or a comedian. You've got to work it out for a while to get to the level. How about yourself? How was it for you? Were you natural the first time you went out?
Oh, you know that. Well, actually, you don't. I mean,
I don't really know that.
I feel like I hope they burned the film from when I started in Chicago or back in the days. No, because I think that is the biggest part of figuring out how to be a broadcaster, but in the context of who you are. And I think at the end of the day, and we know this, like being your authentic self is what makes people feel like they know you, they resonate with you. They want to watch you because no one can be, if I was trying to be like you, or if you were trying to be like me, or if someone was trying, you're never going to be as good of a person as you are.
Yeah, but in the beginning, I was trying to be Joe Broadcaster. I was even like wondering about my voice, that kind of stuff. And then everything is weird. And then how about I remember being the first couple games, and I even do silly things the other day. Like Megan was doing, I was on TV. Megan was doing her hit, like talking about the team and everything. And I just saw a play out there, and I go, "Oh, look at that defense!" Right in the middle of her thing. I still make rookie mistakes, No.
Well,
but anyways, I remember when they talk in your ear, it's very weird to me that people don't know, like when you're going to commercial and stuff, the person in your ear is saying 7, 6, 5. It's weird to keep talking. You got to get better at that.
Or when they're directing you on other things that is coming up while you're talking. Saying, and I think I think there are so many inside broadcasting, inside television things that if people often would sit in that seat.
Here's the thing.
That takes you a while to learn. You need to learn the mechanics of that.
Like, guy would say to me, and I would answer him over the air. Yeah, good idea. Well, that's not good, bro. So I made a lot of mistakes, and I did it the last game with Megan, and I felt terrible, but she didn't care. It was fine.
That's why we're
laughing. Here's the other thing. I've learned that if you laugh at yourself and you don't take yourself too serious, other people don't either. You don't have to be perfect. I always worry about stand-ups before the game. You are so natural at that, so easy. You get Sarah, you're so good at on.
You should have seen the early days.
The on-camera thing before the game. I like when they go quick to you, then you go to a replay. I'm okay with that, But then the other game, Josh Isaac, who's an amazing producer. Hey, Kepper, I want you to talk about the team. I said, oh, geez. You know what I mean? So it ended up being okay. But that part on the TV side is an issue for me for a while. I'll get better at it.
You are tremendous at it, but you've been Iron Man, 2,000 consecutive games. I know you said that's something to celebrate. That's something that not a lot of people in any profession doing anything have that level of consistency.
No.
So when you think about, truly, Capper, to think about each and every game and what you've seen and what you've experienced and the honor that it is, what does that milestone signify for you, knowing how much you poured into this?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't really think about it that much, but the night that they honored me, I've done a good job with the Nets of being under the radar. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to sit up. Like, I sit in the last seat, but I'm kind of, radio analyst. That ain't, not a totem pole. That ain't that high. You know what I mean? So you're kind of doing your thing. You're doing it well, and Chris Carino is unbelievable, right? You're the greatest. But, you do it over and over again in your 20 years, 23 years, whatever, in your 24th year. And the way that they honored me, and I didn't know it was coming like that. I thought they would do something. I knew my wife was going to be there, so they must have talked to her. And then Jordi was before the game, Jordi Fernández, and giving me a ball. And then during the game, and then you're on the screen, and people are saying nice things about me. Man, it threw me off. It was really beautiful. It was really the most special thing that's ever happened to me. But except getting married. Sorry, Chelsea. Sorry. Oh, my kid's being born. Kylie Ross, you're okay. Don't worry about it. But it was just really beautiful. So I couldn't be more appreciative.
Well, it was well deserved, and you know how much we love you. I can go on and on about that forever. But you said it. This organization, this team, this year, we're a little bit past the halfway point of the season. Give us your big picture view of just what you've seen out of this group this season and what you anticipate, what you are excited about, what you look forward to.
You know what? I get blown away by, like me and you go to practice in the preseason, and you watch how the coaching staff operates and how they run practice and how much they get done and how organized and how efficient. And yes, Jordi Fernández is the leader, but this assistant coach is here. This is that. They're all, and the players are rotating. They're moving. I'm like, oh my goodness, I wish I knew this when I was coaching, or I could have learned from this and everything they do. So I just think they have these incredibly sharp people running this organization. I mean, I'm sure people say, oh yeah, he's going to say that, but no.
Yeah.
Like, I think Sean Marks is, and the people, BJ, all these people that work here really get it. And I watch the coaching staff, and they really get it. I thought it was interesting because assistant coaching is very transient in the NBA.
Right.
The entire staff was back. They have a belief. A couple of them I know a little bit. Jason Hernandez, I actually recruited in high school, so I know him a little bit more. And it's just their way of how they speak about Jordi. I know it's really, really good. It's not, you know what I mean? They would say, so I think it's really, really good. And I see the younger players, and I see how much better they've gotten. I mean, they're going to go up and down a little bit.
Right.
Maybe, but overall, from what I saw in the beginning of the year to what I see now, and the development, it's going to take some time, and you got to be a little bit lucky. But this organization, from ownership to management to coaching and then this Brooklyn, the Barclays, it's going to go. When it goes, be ready, because it's going to be real. And the other thing is, it's not going to be short. It's not going to be a short thing. It's going to be, the foundation is being built right now. That's why I try to tell fans, get in on the floor right now and watch what's going on. Because, 2-3 years from now, you're going to be saying, wow, this is really, really good.
Nothing compares to catching your Brooklyn Nets live, and nobody knows that better than you. Nets fans, it all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Nets and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you could experience all the sights, sounds, and styles in person. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Nets tickets at Ticketmaster. Even if you're headed to the game last minute, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com/Nets.
Talk to me a little. You talked about the development, but you've seen it. We watched this. Some of the rookies, some of whether it's Yegor or Danny Wolf or Dre, the list goes on. Nolan, what you've seen out of them, even the growth of like a Day'Ron Sharp and how he's flourished, Nick Claxton, some of these core pieces that we've continued to see through the years. What stands out most about the points that they're at, given where things started at the start of this preseason?
Day'Ron Sharp. It's funny you say that, because I think he's a great example. I don't know that in a different situation he would be where he's at right now. I think I didn't know where he was going to be, and I just think he's going to be a terrific. He's a terrific NBA player. I think he's going to even shoot the ball well. I just think that they have done it. That's a great example. He's been around a while, kind of, and he just took that jump. Sometimes you just, so like we talked about in broadcasting, sometimes you just get it. And you get it. And I think he got it. Now, I think there are an awful lot of people that were involved. And I've even heard Jordi Fernández mention Courtney Brown and the job she's done. I don't even know what but there's different people in the organization that, monitor maybe the, diet or workouts or whatever. He's a really good player. Nick Claxton's the Clowney is really good. Forget he's 21 years old. That's a great example. Now, these guys go up and it's not perfect.
You're right.
But it's not progress, not a straight line. It will they're better. And then you see this with the younger players, they're just do a really, really, really good job. But it's daily, and everybody, Jordi gives you we got to get 1% better. 1%. Well, something? 1% adds up. And it's added up for these guys, and it will continue. Now, I don't think, as good as I like how Nolan looks, how Drake looks, how Yegor, I want to see them when they're 21, 22.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's going to be when you're really going to be able to tell the real progress.
Time progression. Michael Porter Jr., a player that won a championship in Denver, understood his role, embraced that role, came here with added responsibility, higher usage, list goes on. His adaptation to that, for me, was really just eye-popping because there's a curiosity. You don't know what things will look like when a player gets that added type of growth and opportunity, really, for him. What have you seen out of him that has maybe surprised you or that's impressed you most with the way he's played through the course of this year?
Surprised isn't a big enough, but shocked. I had him, because I only saw him stand out at the three-point line and, knock down shots, have great size, good looking, but it was on a really good team, so it was kind of controlled. The way that he has been utilized and coached, the way that he reads a screen or how a defender is guarding him. On defense, everybody watches. On defense, everybody watches the ball. On offense, you watch the man guarding you, and it's like he plays tag throughout the game.
Yeah,
he plays tag. He sets up the man perfectly. He reads how he's being guarded. He moves backdoor on cuts. Him and Claxton got great chemistry. He comes off. I know his shot making is ridiculous, but his ability to play the entire game and be a player without the basketball moving is what has really blown me away. Now, big part of that is coaching. Big part of that is the teaching and the coaching of how to make yourself available, how to get open, I go back to the Celtic game that they played out in Boston and running the same play over and over down the stretch, but him getting every different possible look you could get, whether it was a handoff, a backdoor, a fade, everything possible. All in a one play can be, you can have enormous amounts of options if you learn. And I think the coaching of Michael Porter Jr., I think his feel is good, but that's coach stuff. You know what I mean? That's stuff you go over all the time and you work on And he's really hard to guard because of how crafty. And I love the offensive activity that we have, and other coaches in the league do too. They're first to praise what's going on, not only with Michael Porter Jr., but at the type of job Jordi Fernández does.
What are you most looking forward to this second half of the season?
Development. I'm just want to see. I want to see. Yegor go to start getting to the paint. Start getting a little. Boy, he's a beautiful shooter, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Clutch. The timeliness.
Timely. And some guys, it just looks like it's going in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Klay Thompson, different guys. And I'm a big shooting guy and all that. His form is so perfect. It is so beautiful. But again, he's going to have to get stronger. He's going to have to I'm going to see the aggression. Sometimes you got to be fast off the dribble. Sometimes you can be fast off the catch. But I want more paint. You want to see more paint from him. You want to get him in there because when he gets there, you can see his periphery vision and how he gets rid of the ball. But if you could get to the paint, you could really see it. I think he can a little bit more. I'm not sure. His flexibility and what his position he ends up playing, I think he's going to, modern NBA, he'll be a point guard, he'll be off, he'll be a little bit of everything. Traore's really interesting lately. And he's fast, I said the other night he can play pickleball by himself. You know what I mean? Back and forth. He doesn't need a wall. He can just
jets.
go.
He's got jets.
Yeah, he's got jets. And he crossed up Grayson Allen the other day in May. But again, and then you get all fired up and you think, oh, he's got it now. And then it will happen.
That's part of it.
That's part
Especially
of
if they're 19 and there's acclimation to the league. We see that with everyone.
Everyone, right? Drake Paul. I like it. But when he goes to the mid-range and he elevates the shoot, it's reminiscent of some great players. I don't want to start naming because people are like, this guy's lost his mind. He reminds me of some of the greatest players that ever played. When he gets to that point, and when they have that great vertical leap, when they hang in the air, it reminds me, some of the greatest players that have ever played the guy. I think he's going to get that and become a better shooter. I was surprised at his ability to create and be an all-around player.
He had to do a lot of things he didn't necessarily have the opportunity to do in college.
I know.
That's Carolina. So that's
great scouting
stuff to translate here now at the pro level.
Yeah, it's funny. And then I'm nosy because I ask a few questions here and there. I go to one of the scouting people. I go, how did you know Drake Powell would do that? And they said, well, we saw him, 2-3 years ago in AAU, and he looked really good. That's how detailed it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like when you see a freshman in college. No. They've already done work already. So that is, and Danny Wolf is really interesting to me because I remember my daughter plays at Yale. Gave me an excuse to brag about it right now. Thank you. But he was there, and I saw highlights of him when he was coming in. And I said, who is this kid? Because he was interesting then.
Yeah.
His body looks different now. He's, but guys, evolve. But he is an interesting player, and I thought for sure he'd be picked on defensively. And, he can, because great offensive players can beat great defensive players in the NBA. But he's a lot better than people thought. I think he's such a great feel handling the basketball, shoots it well, and again, these are just really interesting guys that are going to be fun to follow in the next few years. That's why I love the foundation.
No question. Okay, time for Hot Ticket. The good stuff, Capper. It's presented by Ticketmaster. Experience your Nets live with Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Brooklyn Nets. Your top 5 favorite moments
you gave me
of the Nets that you have called.
You gave me this as a homework project last night.
I did, sorry. And I just wanted to make sure you had proper heads up.
I got fired up about it. Oh. My glasses, I'm sorry.
Don't be.
I've got, I just got to
join the glasses gang. Come on.
All right, let me go. Top 5.
Start with number 5.
Can I have a drum roll? All right. That was pretty. That was a weak goose. All right. We're going June 15th, 2003. Okay. San Antonio.
Okay.
It's my first year broadcasting. My first year. Right? First year. Game 6 in the finals. We're in the finals.
Come on, baby.
Finals. Series is 3-2 San Antonio. If the Nets can win this game, they can force a Game 7 in San Antonio. We're already there. Nets up double digits in the third quarter. Double digits! Coast, double digits. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. They're up double digits. Of course, Jason Kidd and Kerry Kittles. Kerry Kittles sat too long that game, by the way, Coach. He sat too long. That hurt him. I'm still angry about that. Dikembe Mutombo. We had all these different guys. Jason College, you forget about everybody that's on these teams. We're up 12, and then it got to the fourth quarter. We're still up pretty good, 8-9. And then we went on some drought that was really, really ridiculous. And San Antonio, David Robinson's last game, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, but different guys beat us than you'd think, too. Steven Jackson had a very big game that game. Speedy Claxton, the coach now of Hofstra.
Yes.
Speedy Claxton Steve Kerr making shots in that fourth quarter. And they end up winning the game. This is the finals. We were in the finals, Game 6, but we're up 8-9 in the fourth quarter. Couldn't hold on. They won the game, but what stood out to me was the confetti falling from... I had confetti in my bag like 3 years later. No. The amount of confetti that came flying down. And there's only one road in San Antonio. They don't have highways. I don't know what the heck they do, but you have to get back to town. Yes. And it was so jammed up because people wouldn't just drive. They had to beep and hang out. So it was one road. So it took us forever to get home. But Bill Raftery was on the trip, and he was one of my heroes, and I'd never really met him. And so it was a tough night, but I ended up, having a few beers with Bill Raftery, so that was okay. And it's a shame. That was the NBA Finals. So that's
amazing. That's a pretty good story. That's a
kind of
special
what you
moment.
Want from here. That's what you want.
What's number 4?
Number 4, next year, 2004, we're up 3-2. We're in Detroit, right? It must be 2-2. It's 2-2. We're playing there. It's the Brian Scalabrine game. Scal,
a former guest on the podcast. I think we talked to him about this.
It's unbelievable. So Scal goes nuts, right? Goes nuts at the end of the game, and it ended in overtime, and it ends up being we end up losing, but we end up winning the game. I'm sorry. We end up winning the game in overtime. Brian Scalabrine lights it up. Other guys were involved, but Jason Kidd was amazing. But we end up 3-2 on Detroit. Now, Detroit ends up winning the championship, right? 3-2. We come back home, and we realize, Jason Kidd played on one leg that game to get us up 3-2. Yeah. That's when they were talking about this microfiber surgery that he was going to... I've never... In the sense that nobody's ever heard of it. But they said, maybe it didn't work. But anyways, he was... He had played his heart out so much, it put so much into that game, and it ended up being a triple overtime. Scalabrine, we're up 3-2, and this is conference semifinals. We're going back home to win it, but we didn't win at home, and then we lost back in Detroit. So that was that's one of the but Scalabrine game in Game 5 got us up 3-2. Remember, Detroit ended up beating the Lakers in that one, So it was pretty amazing. So that was a big night.
Number 3.
Drum roll again. Do you mind? Very weak with the drum roll. The better. Nice job, Coach. Okay, I think. You guys have done the Vince Carter game. Someone has talked about that. So I'm going to go to...
You're a team player. Okay.
I know. But Vince Carter thing... the Vince Carter thing was amazing. I got to give you my spin. Yeah. This is 2005. I had never seen a thing. This is April 15th, 2005. Vince Carter going back to Toronto. Now, Toronto, it was very strange, Vince Carter made basketball in Canada. Right? He made it great. But it didn't end well, right? It didn't end well. And he's there, and And he ends up being traded to the Nets. And there was a lot of tension, all this stuff. So we're going back to Toronto, first game. And, I'm from upstate New York, not far from Canada, And I'm French-Canadian, by the way. I'm French-Canadian, one of my nationalities. And we're known as nice people. And they say A all the time. They're nice people. It was unbelievable how mean and how it was like pro wrestling. Clearly an hour and a half before the game, the place was filled. Everybody had baby bibs on, ready to destroy Vince Carter, this, that. It was unbelievable. I'll go quick because he ends up having 39, wins the game, and then goes back again the next year. Give you quick. Then he hits a buzzer shot to beat him the next time. I remember it because after J. Kidd handed it back to him in this next game, I'm giving you about 15 games, hands it back. He hits a 3 to win it, just to break their hearts again. And then J. Kidd does jumps up. I don't know if you remember Yogi Berra and Don Larson in the no-hitter game when he jumped up on him. And he did one of those things and hugged him. It was amazing. I'm going to stay in Toronto for one more game.
Okay.
I don't even know what number I'm on.
You got two more.
I got two.
You got your number 2 and your number 1.
Game 7, May 4th, 2014. Okay? 2014. Game 7, first round of the playoffs.
Ooh.
Right? Game 7. We're up in Toronto again.
Yep.
Remember this game?
Oh, yes.
Remember this game. Okay, it comes down to the last play of the game, right? Last play, Kyle Lowry's going to get the ball. They're down 1. Right? Get the ball. He gets the ball up top. Okay. We're sitting right in front of coach right there. He's right. We're getting blocked out. Me and Chris Carino. And Chris Carino. And in late in games, if you know anything about radio, it's really important for me to shut up. Because it's really important for everybody to get the feel of the game, the drama. Don't step on the guy when he's making a big call. Don't be a jerk. Just shut up. So anyway, but here's what's going on. The game is going on, and the last play, Lowry gets the ball. He's going down. But coaches are in front of us the whole time because everybody's standing. We're in the front row. The play happens, and Kyle Lowry goes down the lane. Now, there is a block. Somebody blocks the shot. I know who blocked it. But Chris Carino does it. This is my favorite thing I've ever done since I've broadcasted. So Chris Carino keeps going, rejected. Rejected. And I knew enough to write down Pierce. And he finally goes, so it ends up being a great call because he's going rejected. He's buying time. And then I write Pierce instead of saying, I jumping in and saying Paul Pierce.
You're a great teammate.
So it did.
You're a great teammate.
Well, yeah, that's why I brought this up, so I get that compliment. Thank you very much. But anyways, that ends up being my favorite thing I've ever done since I've been broadcasting, because you know how much I think of Chris and how great he is. And the favorite thing I ever did was not talk and write something down and be a good teammate. Ends up being a big call. So that was Game 7. So that was a big moment. I think it was one of the big moments, because it was Pierce and those guys.
Everything about all of that.
You remember
that was
all
amazing.
that?
I do. That was an incredible series. And then off to Miami when LeBron was still there. Okay, number 1.
Number one. Yes, I wanted to involve you. So this is how I work,
Okay.
This is your life, Sarah Kustok. You ready for this?
I don't think so. What you got?
March 19th, 2019. Do you know where you were that night?
March 19th, 2019.
Do you know where you were? Because I just listened to you do the game.
Oh, was that when I did the game in Philly?
No. Sacramento.
Oh,
Sacramento.
How did I not know this?
Sacramento.
Me and Ruko talk about this all the time.
Oh, my God. Down 25 with 11 minutes to go.
That still may be one of my favorite games.
Down 25 with 11 minutes to go in the game. You and Ryan Rucco, Chris Carino doing the play-by-play. D'Angelo Russell going nuts. But you had to, you have to rewatch the game to see the guys that were on the floor.
Rondé Hollis Jefferson.
Oh, no, he would, yes. Rodion Kurucs, right?
That
Kurucs.
whole-
How about this one? Here's a guy that made 2 threes in the fourth quarter. Jared Dudley made 2 threes in the fourth quarter. This comeback, down 25, and then remember it's the last play. And I don't know what happened with the play, but this was not designed for Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, who was scoring and playing really well. And remember,
Was it like a turnaround banker or something?
it was like, I don't know, but remember they used to, the one year they allowed the headbands that had like the tails in the back. So he's running around. A lot of the guys thought that was cool. You know, it's one of those fashion statements. But he's playing out of his mind. He's playing well. But then it's the last play of the game that they go down, you know, not at the buzzer. There's still a little bit of time left, maybe a half a second. But he goes down the lane after scoring other baskets throughout the game and then throws up this thing. I don't know what it was, but it was like kind of like a decent shot, but kind of a little bit of a heave too. And it goes in. That comeback, though, the energy of that night, watching down 25, watching the bench, watch how methodical it was and how it was coming. Because it's, you know, like, Chuck Daly used to always say, it's easy to come back, it's hard to win. And it's 25. It's 25. And D'Lo ends up with 44 points that night. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson makes that ridiculous shot. And I just remember, I just heard it because I had to watch it last night. You and Ryan just having a great time.
It was wild because at the start of the fourth quarter and when there was a little bit of a cut into that deficit, there was a timeout. I can't remember when. And we both looked at each other. We're like, this feels different. There was a different vibe, a different juice, a different energy of just, they're going to fight through this one. And that was one of the most special games that I think we both still talk about that.
Yeah, no,
and that was an incredibly special group. You want to talk about the culture, connectivity, everything about that team. A lot of special individuals.
Yeah, Joe Harris was on that group.
Yeah.
All those guys. But it was funny that it wasn't all those guys down the stretch.
No,
it was different guys who you thought. I mean, but D'Angelo Russell was kind of the leader of that night. But Rondé Hollis-Jefferson was making plays, and then that was clearly must have been the highlight of his career. So that was a great night. You know, so those are 5. The Durant toe on the line. I know that's been done. I don't like to overdo it, but that was awful special. Oh, that was pretty incredible. Guy gets 48 points, but you don't win the game. But I know that's been done other places and that whatever. But that was pretty amazing too. But what's amazing to me is that voice in my head of the play-by-play of Chris Carino doing the calls of these. It just blows me away, like I'm always blown away by how talented Ryan is and Noah and Ian is the king, right? Everybody, but Chris Carino in his radio, and I remember making I was trying to make little highlights of that. I remember being up all night or for a couple hours that night, making the highlights, stringing it together, and feeling really good about that night and what went on.
Well, Capper, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and you are just the best that there is. We'll have to have you back because we're going to need more of these memories.
Well, whatever you need. It was great. But I think they need to interview you.
No.
So they need to interview
the legendary.
They want to know more about you,
the legendary Tim Capstraw. Capper, we appreciate you. We love you. We'll see you again soon, and we will see all of you again soon. This has been another edition of Nets Pod with Sarah Kustok, presented by Ticketmaster. Don't forget, you can catch us on the Nets YouTube channel or anywhere you get your podcasts. Subscribe, follow, all things. Until next time, we'll see you then.